Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we'll be talking about the most important and the prominent writer. The name of the writer is John Milton, wherein we'll be talking about the famous sonnet, that is When I Consider How My Light Is Spent. So this is an autobiographical element kind of a work written by John Milton, and this sonnet is sonnet number 19. So before starting off with the sonnet and the video, I would suggest all of you to sit with a paper and pen, because we'll be talking about the autobiography of John Milton first, and then I will be moving forward on the sonnet, and will be talking about the important RTCs. I will be explaining whole the sonnet word to word, wherein it will be easy for you to grasp, and you have to mention all the dates which are very important from net point of view. So, being a literature student, we all are familiar that John Milton is best known for his work, that is Paradise Lost. A lot of us must be familiar about this work, Paradise Lost. Also, he is famous for his 1644 written work, that is Areopagitica, which talks about the freedom of speech. So talking about John Milton, he was born on 9th December 1608. Dates are very important. And he died on 8th November 1674. Now, John Milton was writing in three eras of the history of English literature. First was the Stuart England or the Civil War age and the interregnum, including the Commonwealth that ranged from 1649 to 1653, and then moving on to the Restoration. So we find the works of John Milton in three important historical backgrounds of English literature, that are from 1642 to 1648, the Civil War and interregnum period. Moving on to the Commonwealth, that is 1649 to 1653. Please note down the dates. And then the Restoration, that is 1654 to 1660. So we found the most popular and amazing works written by John Milton in these three eras of the history of English literature. Talking about the spouse, Mary Powell was the first wife of John Milton. He married her in 1642 and she died in 1652. Second wife of John Milton is Catherine Woodcock. Married her in 1656 and she died in 1658. Last wife of John Milton was Elizabeth Minshall, Mynshul, and he married her in the year 1663. Total children of John Milton were 5. He had 5 children, and moving on to his career or the background, he was also a civil servant, and he used to serve in Commonwealth of England under the council and the state of Oliver Cromwell. So this is very important, that he used to work under the council of Oliver Cromwell. Now moving on to some important works of John Milton. First one is Paradise Lost, Paradise Regained, El Allegro and El Penseroso. Also we cannot forget Areopagitica, Lycidas. These are some important works written by John Milton. Please look at the note, that is John Milton, his death and age is born and death age I have mentioned here, has often been regarded as the greatest poet of his time. Yes, he is regarded as the greatest poet, and yet he did not compose his most famous work, Paradise Lost. He could not compose or complete his work, Paradise Lost, until after he had become blind in both the eyes. So he is the important writer who lost his eyes before completing his works. He died. When he died, this writer had lost both his eyes. So this sonnet which we'll be covering is based on his lost eyesight as well. Another important thing to be noted down is that when he died, he was 65 years of age. Also, the resting place of John Milton was St. Giles without Cripplegate. So this is Saint St. Giles, Giles hyphen without hyphen cripplegate, CRIPLEGATE. So this was the resting place of John Milton. So before moving on with the sonnet, let's see what the writers say about John Milton. So this writer Samuel Johnson, which we must be familiar about, has praised his Paradise Lost as a poem which, with respect to design, may claim the first place, and with respect to performance, the second. So Samuel Johnson is saying about Paradise Lost that his work, with respect to design, how it is designed and portrayed, takes the first place, and with respect to performance, how it is performed on stage, takes the second place. Another important writers who have criticized the poem of John Milton are William Blake, William Wordsworth, and Thomas Hardy. Even they have praised the works of John Milton. Now let's start with the sonnet. So this sonnet number 19, that is When I Consider How My Light Is Spent. So this is a most famous sonnet written by John Milton. It was likely written in around, I guess, mid of 1650s, and this sonnet was basically written by John Milton himself, expressing about the lost eyesight and how he is feeling alienated from the world around him. He talks about all of his griefs, that he was unable to complete the works or the tasks assigned by God to him. So, after he lost his eyesight, this poem reflects on the physical and spiritual challenges that the writer John Milton is facing as a blind person, the hurdles that are coming in front of him at every point of time in his life. Also, he feels unable to complete all the tasks that God might have given him, and worries that he is squandering his capacity to serve God. He is feeling down, he is feeling very saddened about, and he is very upset about the lost eyesight. So these are the lines of the sonnet. When I consider how my light is spent, ere half my days in this dark world and wide, and that one talent which is death to hide, lodged with me useless, though my soul more bent to serve there with my Maker, and present my true account, lest he returning chide. Doth God exact day labour light denied? I fondly ask, but patience to prevent. That murmur soon replies, God doth not need either man's work or his own gifts. Who best bear his mild yoke, they serve him best. His state is kingly. Thousands at his biding speed, and post over land and ocean without rest. They also serve who only stand and wait. So before starting with the line by line explanation, things to remember is that this sonnet has some autobiographical elements. One, that the writer has lost his sight and he feels alienated from the world that is around him. Also, another thing to remember is that it begins with a regretful tone of the person who has lost both his eyesight and has in future have half of the life to live and cherish. So the grief and the pain is so large that he starts wondering what he will do with the gift of his writing, and with no help of his eyes, he is in such a pain and grief that he thinks that he has a gift given by God, that is the writing style that he possesses, and how is he going to use this gift given by God when he has lost his eyes. Now, before starting with the explanation, it is important to know that the poem is divided into two particular phases. One phase is the questioning, the existence of God that the writer is questioning, and the other is the acceptance that whatever God has done to his eyes, he is accepting that. In which way is that he is realizing that yes, although his eyesight is gone, but the poetic talent, the poetic justice, the poetic writing style, everything that he possessed is still left with him. Even though he says that if God was angry from him about anything that he has done in the past, but even then the poetic talent is still there, and he can work on writing, he can work on everything, and the talent he possesses is very rare in the writing style of the other writers. So now here in these lines, the writer is questioning the existence of God. He is saying that he has not even lived half of his life when he has lost his eyesight, and he says that now his talent, his writing justice, his writing techniques, the style in which he used to write, everything is now gone in vain. He says that even if God was angry about anything which he has done in past, but taking his eyesight is similar to taking all of his talent, and all his talent has now gone in vain. So now, as I mentioned earlier, that poem is divided, the sonnet is divided into two phases. One is questioning and the other is acceptance. In the starting lines of the poem, he is questioning the existence of God, wherein he says that his eyesight is now gone. But now, on the other hand, he is accepting that his talent is still alive. He says that God was angry about him, but then he did not take away his writing style, his poetic justice, his poetic talent. So he says that it means God still wants him to write the poetry. On one hand, he is questioning, I repeat, the existence of God, that why did he did such a deed to him. On the other hand, he is saying that even after taking his eyesight away, God still wants him to write poetry. So the idea of loss and gain is completely dominant throughout this poetry. Now, after questioning the existence, he says that every person is equal in the eyes of God. If he has taken his eyes, even then his poetic talent is left behind him. He has all the poetic talent that he used to possess when he used to have his eyes. Then he says we all have a place in this world. We all perform some or the other functions regardless of the capacities or the time we have. So the people who all stand and wait for God to do something good and better for them, they get them as well. So he says he sits and sits back using all his talent, using his poetic techniques, and he will now wait for God to do something for him. So here these beautiful lines of the sonnet tells us that the poet is very upset about the loss of his eyes, but on the other hand he realizes and he accepts that God has taken away his eyesight, but the poetic talent, he is still having it. Now, getting down into the brief summary of this sonnet is that first of all, it was written in the year 1652. The years are very important. So this sonnet is about an outcry or the pain a man is feeling as he is feeling alienated from the world around him. He has lost his eyesight, so he is now kept far away from the world of the light. Also, he had a lot of years to live. He had lost his eyesight towards the twilight years of his life, but on the other hand, he is left with the writing talent, the poetic justice he possesses in himself. So, starting off the sonnet with the grief sound, he is later thanking God that yes, even after taking away his eyesight, God still wants him to do something. He still wants him to use his writing style, his poetic talent. So in the latter part of the sonnet, he is accepting the eyesight taken away from the God. First of all, he was questioning, and later he is accepting. So that's it for today's video. I hope you all have understood the text very clearly and easily. To join our online classes, please email us at megha09academy@gmail.com, or you can directly call or WhatsApp us on the given number. Thank you, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel.